Hundreds of thousands of gun owners are now under threat of having their personal information given to the public, all over a 24-year-old lawsuit against gun retailers in Gary, Indiana. You will want to hear about this one. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. The Brady campaign has been a thorn in gun owners' sides for years, but a lawsuit they filed back in 1999 could now actively be putting gun owners in Indiana in danger. If not in danger, then at least at risk of having all of their personal information disseminated to the public. The lawsuit is Gary v. Glock and was filed by the attorneys for Brady on behalf of the city of Gary. It was part of more than 40 similar lawsuits that went after gun manufacturers and dealers to try and hold them accountable for murders committed using guns. Some of the companies targeted in those lawsuits included Glock, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Colt, High Point, Beretta, and numerous FFLs, including national dealers. Most of those lawsuits disappeared over the years as the federal and state governments passed laws to protect gun makers and FFLs from liability so long as they were acting legally. In fact, all of these similar lawsuits had been dismissed by 2006, except Gary v. Glock. It's still in court, and as of last month, several major retailers have been ordered to hand over all of their sale records to the government. Now, before I get into the rest of the details on this video is brought to you by Blackout Coffee Company, your Second Amendment-friendly coffee roaster that partners with some of your favorite gun rights groups and channels like mine. And hopefully I am one of your favorites too. Their Christmas sale is on now, and if you spend $50, you will get 20% off your entire order with code XMAS20. They're a great company owned and operated by some great folks, and their holiday flavors are selling out fast. So check them out at blackoutcoffee.com/libertydoll. And again, code XMAS20 for 20% off your order of $50 or more. Just last month, an Indiana Superior Court judge denied motions to quash subpoenas in the case. After 24 years, the case is still somehow in discovery. It actually didn't even move into discovery until 2019 because of the state Supreme Court. I should clarify that it was the state Supreme Court that allowed it to finally go into discovery in 2019, not that the Supreme Court was doing good things in holding up the lawsuit. The judge argued that the records requested by the government are perfectly reasonable and based that decision on another lawsuit that Gary had brought against Smith & Wesson, in which the Indiana Court of Appeals decided that illegal gun sales did harm the city and fell under the public nuisance law. So now the gun dealers in this lawsuit have to hand over all of their sales records and other data, including the names and addresses of law-abiding buyers, to the government. And we're not just talking about little mom and pop places. Cabela's and Bass Pro are also on the list. The Cabela's in Hammond, Indiana has already caved and given over 200,000 customer records, and Bass Pro is set to hand over another 200,000 more. So that is already 400,000 records of mostly, if not all, legal gun sales to legal gun owners already in the hands of the government, and that is just the beginning. Other sellers and gun makers are expected to be hit with subpoenas soon, and requested records cover a period of over 25 years. And they're not requesting just records of sales, but even internal documents on market research, internal communications, and anything that could possibly pertain to gun trafficking. The gun control group's definition of gun trafficking. So, like any gun sale ever. And it's suspected that Gary will then give this information directly to Brady and the ATF. Gun control advocates at least assume they're going to get their hands on it, as even back in 2021, the Trace reported that the case would give them and other anti-gun groups, quote, unprecedented access to gun industry secrets. The gun industry has tried several times to shut down this lawsuit, but with zero success. First, they appealed to the Indiana Supreme Court, who said that if the city's allegations were proven, then the FFLs and gun makers would be liable for damages and relief. Then they tried to get it dismissed under the PLCAA, or Federal Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act. A state appellate court decided that the lawsuit didn't fall under the PLCAA because the city was claiming the companies had broken the law. At this point, they don't have any proof, but that was apparently enough to let the lawsuit go forward. In 2015, Mike Pence, who was the governor at the time, tried to make the state's immunity statute retroactive back to 1999 to cover the defendants. In 2019, the state's Court of Appeals denied a motion to dismiss, claiming that even the amended law did not cover the gun makers and FFLs. And in 2012, the federal government even barred the data the lawsuit was based on from use in court. But still, somehow, Brady and its vehicle of Gary v. Glock persists. It really is a mystery as to why this is the only lawsuit of the original bunch that remains. The entire premise is that gun makers and the FFLs who sell their products were directly responsible for a crime wave in the 1990s. To my knowledge, they have no proof of this except that guns exist, and gun shops exist, and gun shops sell guns. Correlation does not equal causation, my friends. Even a 2003 case in which the NAACP claimed to have traced crime guns back to a couple retailers in New York City with the help of the ATF went nowhere. The NAACP argued that the gun industry knew about this illegal activity and yet kept using those shops as distributors, which really begs the question that if the ATF knew about this, why the ATF didn't shut them down, but apparently nobody cared about that part. But even that lawsuit ended up getting dismissed even before the PLCAA. In this case, the argument is that Glock and Smith & Wesson and whoever's general marketing and general distribution caused a spike in homicides in the 90s. Their hope is that the records from discovery prove that these companies and gun dealers show, quote, willful blindness to crime. As one attorney's website puts it, it's a case of creative lawyering, and unfortunately, law-abiding gun owners are getting caught in the net. That's it for this one, guys. If you live in Indiana, hold on to your butts, as who knows how many gun dealers are going to get sucked into this and who exactly is going to get this information. Journalists and gun control groups did get their hands on some of the Remington documents in the Sandy Hook case, so there's no reason to think they won't get it this time. And as we saw with the interactive map posted by the Journal News a few years back, they are not above publishing that information. And with that, my friends, thanks for tuning in and happy shooting.